I am wondering if you have heard of veganuary. Coming up tomorrow is first day of veganuary. Big day for people who want to switch or switch to an alternative, kind of a plant-based kind of diet. Doing a huge favor to a lot of uh, like categories like animals, the planet, and this stream I will explain to you why. I will. I have. I think I'm just talking about to set it up. I've just set up a screenshot where we can have a look. Where I am going to. What's happened there? Okay. But all right. What's that? All right. What actions? Active mods. Okay. Yes. So I have where I will. Well, I'm trying to figure out how this works. Okay, there we go. So I will introduce you a couple of things that I have that I've known that uh, help me along in switching to becoming vegan based. Really, that's what it's about. More of a compassionate person. And the first thing I will introduce you is how it all started. I have done a video before and explained to you how I became plant based, and it's all because of Sea Shepherd. So I will introduce you to Shepherd by introducing you the group who I'm very fond of, and you will be you find out now what you find out. So I'll introduce you quickly, guys. If you're not, I'm gonna hold on before I start. I need to do this quickly because I'm not really sure whether people are going to be watching this yet. So I've got like literally like one viewer. It says so. I'm trying to figure out. Is this? I'm trying to figure. Yeah, I'm live. I'm live. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Bear with me, guys. I will get there. It's just I've never done a screen share before, and I will get into that now. So I will introduce to you Sea Shepherd in a second. I don't want to mess this up. You see, I want you to really get the stream. Hold on. Why is this not loading up? Why is this not loading up? Okay. It doesn't say anything. Okay, share. I'm just gonna share that. I'm gonna share my link to the channel and see if more people wanna join in and have a look. I'm out of coffee. So I will do this now. I'll tell you how I am. Network errors. Became vegan. Uh, uh, the stream will help you. What shall I put down? Help you to consider. To consider vegan. Hold on, I'll put hashtag because vegan you very tush. Okay, let's see how that pops up. Maybe some people will join us. Some people maybe they won't. Oh, Xander Tom, hi. Let's play Among Us. I was gonna join my wife because it's New Year. I was gonna join everyone. I had a different thing with veganuary coming up. I was gonna do something else. Let me activate speech chat so I know that you guys are here. I tend to not to look at the streams. Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I will introduce you to Sea Shepherd. I've got a speech chat open, so I know what you're gonna. I can hear what you're saying now. I presume that's what's gonna happen anyway. So Sea Shepherd are the ones that have led me to the plant-based diet. I found out about this. A friend that was on about. He shared this. He's into boats. That's all he was on. Literally, that's how it started. This guy's into boats, and he shared this. This boat Sea Shepherd have acquired. I think it got donated to them, and it was basically painted like it had like a shark's mouth right on its front as it's like painted on. And he said, "Hey, look at this ship." And then I thought, "Oh, who are these guys?" Sea Shepherd. And I found out these guys are the largest private navy in the world who solely help the marine world. That's all they're basically there for. They try to stop. They're trying to stop anything to do that harms the ocean. They'll stop. They'll try and stop whaling. They'll try and stop overfishing. They'll stop illegal fishing. Culling off dolphins, which happens a lot in Taiji. Literally, this guy called Captain Watson, and he is one of the co-founders of Greenpeace. The problem is with what happened is Mr. Watson, Greenpeace didn't like his methods. So what he did was they literally, because he's a co-founder, but literally they kicked him out. That's what they did, or they made him leave, as far as what I know. So, so what's happened is, they made him leave. So he actually got a funding from this guy who really believed he could make a difference. So he made this funding to get his own boat, and this boat was called the Sea Shepherd. And he went out to try and stop baby seal cullings and stuff like that. So basically, I'm going to introduce you to Sea Shepherd now, and the founders. Excuse me. Oh God, I've just had a Chinese New Year and all that. So I will introduce you to this person right now. My mouse is not working. Okay. So I will let you. Hold on. Okay. Right. Save that now. Okay. Okay. Where's this? Right. Okay. Here we are. Right. I will cancel the music because you obviously want to hear. Yeah. What's going on with that? Okay. Right. Let's cancel the video. Okay. Stop the media for now. So I will introduce you to Sea Shepherd right now. Okay. This is Sea Shepherd.
Hey Google, text T.
All right,
Target
y'all
track
watching
to
bloody
exchange
adverts.
point.
As always, I'll skip that. Okay.
In 2002, when we first went down to intervene against the illegal operations of the Japanese whaling fleet, nobody in the world even knew what they were doing. Even the people of Japan had no idea what was going on down there.
This is a nonviolent movement, but unfortunately, as every nonviolent movement in history has shown, that is usually one-sided, that the nonviolent side usually gets attacked violently. We had harpoons fired over us, our ships have been rammed, we've been shot at, we've been attacked by mobs, we've been beaten.
Steve Irwin mile marker. We're taking water in the end.
This boat's literally getting crushed by 2 boats.
For 12 years, Sea Shepherd has been intervening against the illegal operations of the Japanese whaling fleet in the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary. And for 12 years, the Japanese have been calling us outlaws and pirates and eco-terrorists for trying to stop them from killing whales. What the International Court of Justice in The Hague has ruled is that it is the Japanese fleet that is illegal. And so the tables have been completely turned. I don't think that the Japanese whaling industry or the Japanese government's ever understood how Sea Shepherd is structured. They thought that they could stop us by putting a lawsuit against Sea Shepherd USA, forgetful that there's dozens of other countries that are involved in this movement. They also thought that they could stop Sea Shepherd by removing me and therefore putting me on the Interpol red list and preventing me from traveling. They thought that that would end it. Ultimately, all their efforts against us in the courts will fail because they simply cannot stop a movement.
So there you have it, guys. Let me close this down. Why isn't this on me? Oh no. Close this way. So there you have it, guys. It's Sea Shepherd. I hope you got that. I wonder if you did. Like, only have a look. Holland, did this work? Oh. Okay, no, I don't think it did work. Oh, it might have done. Okay, it might have done it. So did you get? But this wasn't a total introduction. It's mainly about the whaling side of it. Basically, Sea Shepherd is a lot bigger thing. Now, the most amazing thing I have found is the whole everyone who joins Sea Shepherd, every one of them, they are all vegan. They eat only vegan food on the boats. They're out 3-4 months at a time, and they have a cook there on the boat that cooks vegan food. And I will see if I can find okay, hold on. Put this down. Okay, see all these fans. Okay, here we go. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, some have done like their own kind of uh, their own little videos, but I will show you a person here who talks about he's actually galley, the gourmet galley with chef as a chef, and his name is William, and he will talk. He will let you know why. Oh, there's actually a couple of chefs. I'm really like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. Here's a video that I've got. This will be all right.
Women know too much. I'm all for
All
girls
right,
that don't know too much. It's different class.
Okay.
Pay attention to the pitch.
Oh, no, she knows nothing.
Okay.
Chef, I make my own fake meat products.
Oh, it's very wobbly video. I'm not going to show you that one. Oh, it's too wobbly. It's way too wobbly. Let me see if this one. This one is okay. Oh, let me see this one. This one's just more professional.
I got my.
Okay, here we go. So this person talks about being a raw vegan, which basically there's like nothing. There's nothing cooked, basically almost nothing cooked in this person's diet, and obviously because cooking things uses fossil fuels, like obviously you still use coal power in the certain. So if you have a electric cooker, they'll be using gas. I'm using gas, and I'm using obviously coal to power electricity or other things. So some people are raw. They're raw vegan, so they cook literally like soft beans and stuff like that, and stuff. Just basically that's what they do. So this person here is telling you about a life at Sea Shepherd as a raw vegan. That's basically what it is. So I'll get into that one, guys. So I'll show you that one now.
A case of dates in my little bike basket. I'm gonna try to bike back. They're 15 pounds, and I'll show you guys. They're veganuary. And in this bag, I got my mangoes and my bananas. Okay, you guys, I'm at a Mexican grocery store called Smart and Final, which is such an interesting name for a grocery store, I thought, but they have dates. So I found a case of veganuary Mexican-grown dates. I'm so excited. I've never tried dates from Mexico before, really only California and Arizona. And I got a couple of mangoes and some bananas just to supplement my food intake on the ship, the Sea Shepherd ship. There is some fruit on board, and I'm trying to eat as much of it as I can. Also having some frozen fruit for smoothies in the morning, and trying to eat as much of the crew fruit as possible because not everyone else wants it. But I do have preferences, personal preferences, and I love dates, so I got some today.
What's going on? So basically this person does smoothies and that. Turn the volume down a bit.
I'm up on what we call the flybridge right here. This is where the captain steers the ship if they want a full view of everything. And this is the shipyard here down in Ensenada, Mexico, where we've been living. We're docked right now before we leave for campaign. This is it, life on a ship. I'm having my strawberries mixed with maple syrup. There's a snack out here. I'm gonna soak up some sun.
That's one of the boat. That looks like the Marley. Yeah, the Farley mower. So basically what they do is they name a lot of the boats they have. They name them after supporters, donators, like people that donate boat to them, so like, and supporters, activists, some really high up activists, and obviously influencers and all stuff like that. Well, Farley Moore was one of them. He was the one who spoken out about climate change and stuff like that, and helps Sea Shepherd a lot in financial situations. I'll carry with this one.
So this is the view we have right now of the Sea of Cortez. I'm up here on the fly bridge. We're anchored right now, just waiting to resume our patrol tonight. And that's the mainland Mexico. This is it.
So I believe this campaign, the idea was against, I think it was called a totoaba fish, and it's been illegal fish with ghost nets. So it's been illegal fish with ghost nets. Basically, what they do, these ghost nets that we put in the water, and all sorts get caught into it. Turtles, fish that even not supposed to be in there, sharks, and especially one of the small porpoise, like a dolphin kind of mammal, is called the vaquita porpoise, and there's literally 30. There's only believed to be 30 left of these porpoises. So they're pulling these nets out. Literally, they had drones flying over these gangs, literally, who fished for these totoaba fish, because the totoaba, I think it's called a totoaba fish. It has the swim bladder is worth thousands on the black market, on the Chinese black market especially. And these guys, these like Mexicans, are like gangsters literally, and they've got AK-47s and all sorts, shooting Sea Shepherd drone downs and everything, make sure they're not getting too close to the illegal activities that they're doing. And Sea Shepherd out there doing anything they can, pulling out these nets, and all the time it's a race against time, because these vaquita porpoise, the last thing they want to do is put them into captivity to make sure they don't go extinct. So basically, they're pulling all these nets out to make sure that the vaquita porpoise can stay in the Gulf of Mexico. If you have any questions, speak chat's open. I will hear you if you talk, so you can join me anytime. So as you can see, there's lots of fruit involved. With
It may not seem. You want to be in the video, Arturo?
just text us on messaging somebody. So as you can see, they get to see some beautiful sides out there. I don't think, right? They got dolphins everywhere, but very rarely you will see a vaquita porpoise, because there's literally believed to only be 30 left of these kind of really small dolphin, and it's without Sea Shepherd, these mammals won't have a chance. A lot of veggies, a lot of fruits in there. Make sure the calorie intakes are high, because these guys do actually work really hard when it down at night time, when it comes down to the graph. Pulling these nets up is hard work. They need high calorie, dense, like you got the vegan ranch sauces, packed with calories. So I need to keep it up. Need to keep those calories up. Yeah, it looks empty. Oh, maybe not. It's nearly empty by the looks of it. Yeah, sure. I would definitely give it a like. So there I was just let me close this down. So as you can see, there's a lot more to it than that. So I will come out of this one. This guy's a cook here, basically talking. He's like a chef. There's nothing actually saying why they're actually vegan or anything. Maybe this Q&A is is something worth looking at. Let's have a look at that one. Hey guys.
Hey there, it's Tara. I'm coming at you from Ensenada, Mexico, on board the Farley Moet, which is a Sea Shepherd ship. This is my Sea Shepherd.
I think it's the same woman, right? Yeah, I thought it was. Yes, I think she's the one that does her own kind of videos.
Got all of your questions here, and I'm going to answer them about Sea Shepherd. If you have any more, post them in the comments below, and I will make another video. For now, we're going to start with how did I get involved with Sea Shepherd, and how can you get involved with Sea Shepherd? I got involved 8 years ago. I heard of them through a high school presentation about people who inspired us in the environmental movement. Someone did a project on Paul Watson, heard about Sea Shepherd, I was inspired and knew that this was the path that I wanted to take in life.
Oh.
So I sent in my application, which you can also do at seashepherd.org. It is actually that simple. You just go online, print off the application, send it into the address. You also, well, back when I first signed up, you had to pay, I think it was $100 to send in the application. Weeds out the people who aren't serious right off the get-go. I'm not sure if you have to pay that anymore, but you can also find out on seashepherd.org. All the information is there for how you can sign up. If you have any skills relating to being on a boat, that's awesome. You don't have to. When I first started with Sea Shepherd, I knew nothing about boats. I still don't know a whole hell of a lot about them, to be honest. So you don't have to be particularly skilled. You have to be passionate, because you can't pay people to be passionate. That's one of the reasons we work as volunteers. But you can teach people how to work on a ship, but you can't teach people passion. So that's why it's important that the people who are coming here are passionate about the cause and are willing to risk your life for it, because it's kind of essential to what we do. The second question is, how do you afford this lifestyle? I work my ass off. This past winter, I was working full-time, plus making YouTube videos, plus coaching and fundraising all at the same time. So I afford to be able to go on Sea Shepherd campaigns by fundraising. I mainly do bottle drives, which is collecting bottles and cans. I go around on my bike with my bike trailer and collect them, or I call up big companies or resorts and collect my bottles and cans from them. Bring them over to the bottle depot. I think you get 5 to 10 cents a can, sometimes.
You'd never get that in the UK. They would not pay you to take your trash off your hands, unless it's metal.
Fundraise within my community. If you are going to fundraise to be on campaign with Sea Shepherd, it's important to note that you have to fundraise within your community. So your family, your friends, your coworkers, your online community, something that is your personal community. That's the only way that you can fundraise. And if you are going to fundraise, also note that you don't represent Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. When I fundraise, I'm simply representing myself, not the organization as a whole. That's really, really important. But you'll learn all that when you send in your application.
I wonder why that is.
The third question, how long do I go out on campaign for? This differs depending on the campaign. I've gone to land-based campaigns and also at sea I've helped as well. Generally speaking, the campaigns last anywhere from 3 to 5 months, depending on the campaign, depending on whether it's on a ship or on land. I've gone to the Galapagos Islands. I worked on the ship in Australia, helped preparing it for the Antarctic campaign. I've gone to Taiji, Japan, which is only for a few weeks at a time, but you can give more time than that. And I also spent 3 months in the Faroe Islands, and I plan to spend maybe 3 to 4, 5, 6, I don't know how many months on board the Farley Moet. It's basically as much time as you can afford to give. The beautiful thing is that while you're on the ship, they provide your food and lodging, so you don't have to pay for anything. Literally all you have to do is pay to get down here, so as long as you can afford that, you're good. The next question is one that I wish I had a different answer for, and that is, can you eat raw on the ship? Okay, I'm just gonna squash this right now, because I used to have this rainbows and butterflies mentality of, oh, I'm sure you can eat raw on the ship. Actually, I know you can eat raw on the ship because I'm gonna do it. And I did, and I tried, and I was so fucking stressed eating raw on the ship because you have so little time to eat your meals when you're on campaign. we're not here to eat raw. You're here for helping the oceans, helping animals. And that's something I really had to let go of because I wanted to eat raw on the ship so bad. I wanted to maintain my diet, and I eventually just had to give that up. So if you harbor any hopes or dreams about eating raw on the ship, just forget about them right now if you want to come and volunteer with Sea Shepherd. Land-based campaigns, totally easy. I've eaten raw in Japan and Australia and the Faroe Islands, and it was no problem. But on the ship, it's just, frankly, it's not going to happen. And that brings me to the next question of, are there not fruits and vegetables on the ship? Yes, there are fruits and vegetables on the ship, but you have to remember you have a crew anywhere from 20 to 40 people on the ships, and everyone has to eat, so you can't hoard all the fruit, and there's no time to think of ripening schedules or finding fresh fruit. Honestly, I've found I'm now eating a combination of cooked and raw food on the ship because it's just what I had to do. I found it way more stressful to eat raw on the ship because I had to constantly think about what I was going to eat, when I was going to eat it, how I was even going to try to find time to prepare the food because there's no time for that. And frankly, the truth of the matter is that after a long, slogging, hard day when you've been on deck and you're working your ass off, 8 to 12 hour shifts depending on whether you're prepping for campaign or on campaign, the last thing you want to worry about is what you're going to eat. When food is put in front of you, you eat it and you're done. And I find that this way of eating for me is so much less stressful and it takes the guesswork out of it. So I was willing to compromise my diet to be on the ship, and that's a
I
conscious choice
underscore
that I
frag
made.
underscore
And it's
your
worth it for me
underscore dad.
because for me, Sea Shepherd
Whispered
is
it's
delicious.
okay.
So if it's worth it for you, awesome. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. It's just food when it comes down to it. You can always eat raw when you're
Hold on,
on
what
the
was
ship.
that?
Like
Hold on a sec, I missed that one. Hold on a sec, guy. Hold on. What was that? I missed that. Why did I miss that? Oh yeah, no worries. All right, yeah, it's the whisper I sent to our Fraggy Dad. No worries. Okay. All right, okay. All right, back to it.
The next question is, would the cook prepare any raw foods? Absolutely, and they often do prepare raw foods, but they're more like snacks and desserts and sometimes smoothies. I have actually been eating smoothies for breakfast, so I always have a raw breakfast, and then I eat raw snacks, and then I eat whatever food they put out for lunch and dinner, which is always vegan. And that in and of itself is so awesome. And some of our ships are even starting to grow greens and sprouting, so it's baby steps, and maybe one day it will be possible to eat all raw on the ship, I hope, but you just never know. I mean, the food being prepared is not all that bad. They try to use minimally processed ingredients, whole foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, that kind of thing. It's really not that bad. And the last question is, what do I do on the ship? So on the ship, I'm a deckhand, which means I do general maintenance, painting, grinding of rust, prep, working with ropes and hauling up nets. That's what I'll be doing on this campaign. So it's a lot of physical labor, and that's why you just eat whatever's put in front of you because you're so friggin' ravenous by the time mealtime comes around that you can't even think about prepping food. You know, what Paul Watson always says is it is the hardest work you will ever love, and that is absolutely the truth. So I hope you guys like this Q&A about Sea Shepherd. Again, if you have any more comments, post them in the comment section below. And this campaign will be announced sometime in the near future, so I can't say too much about it, but you will find out if you do check in with Sea Shepherd regularly. I'll also make videos once we have announced the campaign.
Yeah, so the reason why they can't announce the campaigns are the campaigns like what they're gonna do, are they gonna pull nets out, or are they where they're gonna go, you know, where they're gonna go next, what they're going to do, and maybe they're going to a different country or something like that. They can't let you know quick so soon because if they do, the people who commit the crimes putting the nets out, they'll know where they're going. So it's defeating the object. So you know you can't tell we can, you know, they cannot let you know where they're going because it these criminals they'll work around this. If she says like, oh, we're going there, so these criminals they go somewhere else, and then Sea Shepherd they'll never find them what's going on. So it will never be explained too soon. Literally on the moment they're going to go there, they will head straight there, and obviously and then they'll obviously try and help the ocean. So basically, the whole the whole crew, everyone in Sea Shepherd is vegan. That's basically all of them are. And I was like, I was meat eater then. I was eating meat, and I was like, what the hell? How did they do that? How can they survive 4, 5, 6 months without meat? And I thought it was an impossibility. And I was like, what are these guys doing? And the more I get into it, and more looking at these, because obviously there's like YouTube has like an algorithm at a time, or you search on the web and there's an algorithm building up, and by what you're typing into Google or something, and all these other videos start popping up like Cowspiracy, and then Forks Over Knives came out, and then this latest one that's come out was called Game Changers, where Arnold Schwarzenegger got involved in it. If you find to watch Game Changers on YouTube, I'm not sure whether Twitch would do it, because it's not that sort of category. But if you do find uh, Game Changers on any of those social sites, give it a watch. You will not believe what it's got. It's basically mainly it's health based. It's nothing too much. It's basically kind of plant based message. Vegan mainly for the animals, definitely for the animals, because but there's an involvement. And somebody had made a comment on Twitter like yesterday. Uh, don't give a damn about the environment, the world, or other people or health. It's all about the animals. Yes, okay, I certainly agree. I agree with that. The problem is, I would not, I would not go that. Hold on, let me mute this figure. I would not go to that extent. See, being vegan, I I do care about the environment, because if being a vegan will help the environment, which I will explain to you in a minute in a YouTube video that I found. Um, being vegan can help can help towards averting climate change. Now, everyone who doesn't believe it is going to go, you're talking out your ass. But trust me, there is a common sense behind it, and there are the powers that be that will do anything. Will tell you anything to try and divert you from not going, they will do anything to tell you not to stop eating meat. That's what they do, because they want you to keep that straight line. And I will get into it. You will not. There's some crazy stuff out there. There's no conspiracy. There's no like fake news bullshit going on. It is literally all truth, and it's all verified by scientists, not the scientists paid by governments who get tax money and loads amount of money from pharmaceuticals, and I don't know what other kind of things are out there. I don't want you to switch your life to a healthy lifestyle, and obviously, and then in turn you will help the animal. So basically, that's what I'm trying to get at. If you become vegan, yes, you will help your health, you will help the environment, and you will help the animals. I know it's all for vegan, it's all for the animals, but if we don't become vegan for the planet and our health, the way I see it is, becoming a vegan has to be an evidence for you. It has to put a seed in your head, like something that you can believe in, of why it's good to become vegan. So the first thing that you will notice is your health. Now, if you're a really unhealthy person, you suffer from type 2 diabetes, and you have, I don't know, arthritis in your joints, first thing you will notice is that if you go become like raw, like she is a raw vegan. Now, if you start becoming a vegan, like a raw vegan or somewhere between raw and cooked vegan, you'll find you'll have more energy. So with that more energy, you'll start to move more. So you find yourself starting to get jittery. Now, I work 15 hours a day, and even as a lorry driver, and me being a vegan, regardless of whether I'm a vegan or not, I'm knackered after 15 hours a day. So all my energy is spent. But even my wife says to me, I don't know how you do it, working 15 hours a day. On your last day working 15 hours and then going on stream until 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I'll have an odd cup of coffee and maybe the odd energy drink, but I don't down energy drinks after energy drinks. It's just like maybe the diet is helping me. I don't know what it'd be like, but I was convinced. So then so as you turn vegan, you become convinced that your health is getting better, and then as the majority become vegan, it the you will the climate change will be averted if the majority will become vegan because you're not using factory farming, which is so highly polluting the planet. These factory farms are just, they supply like your KFCs, your McDonald's, your Burger Kings, all these like cheap meat that's in them. And so that will help climate change. But all in all, these two categories put together, health and climate change, that as meat consumption is reduced, it will help the animal. 100%. Definitely help the animal. Yes, it's all about the animal. Vegan is all about the animal, but you can't have one without the other. It just it doesn't work that way. They're all interconnected. They're all interconnected. So I will show you now another video. I'm not sure whether I'll be allowed to do game changers because when it came out, one had to pay for it. It was a premium service, so I'm not sure whether I should show you that. I don't want to get in copywriting or anything like that. But I will. Okay. I will show you a video of a doctor, an American doctor called Neil Barnard. He's a doctor who is often been shunned by the medical community because he believes in preventative medicine, not curing. Not even going to give you a cure with a tablet, like a tablet or a pill, something like that. He focuses on preventative medicine, and basically, it's preventive medicine with the most ailments are caused by a bad diet or lifestyle. Um, he was focused on how to change these bad diets and bad lifestyles, and that is called preventative medicine. So this guy has obviously founded this kind of his own medical community is like something to do with preventive medicine. Uh, so it is Neil Barnard. Okay, so let's see what it comes up with that. I was put that Neil Barnard on vegan. Okay, here we are. Here's a 2-minute video that you can see. So I will click this on here. I'll put you on the layout. So this guy's called Neil Barnard.
A vegan diet is one of the best choices that you can make for health, but there are a lot of misconceptions. Sometimes people wonder, will they get enough protein? Others wonder if soy is really healthy. Let's clear them up. Carbohydrate-rich foods like sweet potatoes, fruits, and beans are actually the key to good health. They provide glucose, which is the main fuel for your brain and your muscles, and they're not fattening. Carbohydrates have only 4 calories in every gram, while fats have more than twice that amount, 9 calories per gram. What's really fattening isn't the potato, it's the butter and the sour cream and the bacon bits that go on top. Major studies have found that milk doesn't prevent osteoporosis or bone fractures. Of course, you do need calcium, but cows don't make calcium. Calcium is an element in the earth. It passes into the roots of grass and other plants that the cow will eat, and some of that calcium ends up in the milk. You absorb, though, just 32% of it. Instead, eat the green vegetables directly, hopefully not grass, but you'll get the calcium you need without the cholesterol and saturated fat found in milk. This is the myth that just will not die. There's actually plenty of protein in beans, nuts, seeds, grains, even vegetables. Americans, including vegans, get twice the protein their bodies actually need.
Now, I can tell you, when they say that you have a protein deficiency, I've been vegan 2 years now. 2 years, and I've not touched no meat in regards to protein. I get mine from beans and tofu, which is obviously another bean kind of product from soya. There's so much protein out there vegan can have, and I can tell you it's true. There's no there's no there's, there's no way. It's like there's a guy called what's his name, Patrick Paboumian. He's like a strong man. He's like I think he just broke some sort of I don't know if it's a national record or some sort like that, where he's got this carrying this four men. It's like something 400 kilos or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But this guy is vegan through and through. And somebody said to me, he said, how can you be a vegan, be as strong as an ox? And basically he said, when have you ever seen I said, no, actually what they said, how can you be as strong as an ox and without not eating meat? So he said, have you ever seen an ox eating meat? So basically that was his answer towards this. So basically, protein, you don't need to come from meat. I didn't know it. I'm fine. So I'm not, my muscles haven't dropped off my arms or anything like that. So I can attest to that one.
Vegan diets have tremendous benefits for athletes. They can reduce inflammation, they can speed up recovery times and boost endurance, and they increase oxygenation of the muscles and the brain. Plants are packed with complex carbohydrates that give athletes long-lasting power, and that's why we're seeing more and more top athletes going vegan to gain a competitive edge. You could try it too.
Well, as you know, he's not talking any nonsense. Like Lewis Hamilton, he's vegan. You know what I mean? No, a lot of people are against him now because he's obviously, they think he's gone nutty or something like that. But he's still at the top end, with his Formula One racing. There is Haymaker, the boxer. Can't remember David Haymaker. Yeah, everyone knows him, the boxer. You know, there's this guy. They had an interview. Obviously, that's like these like challenge interviews, where they rally these two boxers rally each other up and stuff like that. And this guy boxer, he literally unwrapped had this kitchen foil with something inside. And he unwrapped it, and there was a piece of steak in it, and he shoved it across to David. And David said, "Guaranteed knockout now." David is a vegan himself, so he said, "Guaranteed knockout." And literally, like, I think it was the first round, he literally decked him. Well, that was it. End of the fight. So no, it's just, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
Hey, vegan diets are not going to break the bank. In fact, one study found that people eating plant-based diets save $750 a year.
Right, hold on a sec. Right, there's a thing. There's a thing with that. Yes. Okay. Right. Here we go. Right. He's not 100% accurate on that one. It depends on what you eat. Now, you can make being a vegan really cheap, but you have to cook a lot more. You have to. If you go to a takeaway, or especially in the UK, I'm not sure what's like in any other country, but if you go to the UK, uh, you go to a restaurant or a takeaway, even like if you go to when KFC brought the vegan KFC out in the UK, it was a lot more expensive. I kid you not. I kid you not. It's a lot more expensive. Yeah, worth trying, but you just couldn't live on it. Obviously, you shouldn't live on McDonald's anyway. You know what I mean? Because it's totally unhealthy. But it, you could, if with the money, if you didn't cook every day and you went to McDonald's and you had a cheeseburger with fries every day, that's like what, 99 99 pence for a cheeseburger, which is, there's your protein, and then fries for a 99. That's £2. That's £2 per person. Like that's £6 a day. You know what I mean? If you live that sort, I mean, I'm just generalizing here. You couldn't do that on a vegan diet. What you have to do, if you get everything with your vegan in bulk, like your bulk pastas, your bulk beans, your bulk veggies that you can get in the food shop, you get a massive bag of taters and stuff like that. You know, yeah, you can do it that way, but is it more expensive? Yeah, it depends on what you get. If you had a yogurt when you was consuming milk, and you have a yogurt where as a vegan, that yogurt is going to be more expensive. I don't know why. It's just is because I think it's just not a niche, but it's because it's a new thing. You know, might be because it's a new thing, and the more people buy it, the price eventually probably will come down. You know, like everyone's eating yogurt, so hundreds of people eat normal dairy yogurts, and the price can keep it low because people buy it. But on the other end, on the note, dairy is heavily subsidized by the government. So could it be, and obviously meat as well, anything to do with farming on that side is heavily subsidized via uh, via the feedlots they give to the animals to obviously keep these animals. It's heavily subsidized by the government. So maybe that's the reason why they can keep it down, the prices. But vegetables, as you know, can be cheap if you get it in bulk, but obviously it it could be also because vegetables are healthy for you and there is no money to be had. So if you eat vegetables, you're going to be a very healthy person. They're going about 5 a day. You're going to have your 5 a day, and you're going to have your 7 a day, and it got up to 10 a day. Have your 10 a day portion of vegetables and fruits. Pharmaceutical companies are going to go, whoa, 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 what's going on? You can't do that. You're going to go to the governments. You can't do that. If everyone's running around healthy, how are we go how what how are we going to get our money by giving people diabetic medicines and heart problem medicine stuff like that? So it's just there's always something that's going to go on there that's it's going to stop you from getting that. So
compared to omnivores. That's because vegan staples like rice and beans, oats, and potatoes are just pennies per serving. And if you want to save even more, try buying produce in season, look for frozen fruits and veggies, and buy beans and grains in bulk.
yeah, greens and grains and bulk.
Decades ago, scientists found natural compounds called isoflavones in soybeans and
And look at that soy milk down there, like $3.99, $4.39 for soy milk.
Whether they might cause breast
That's
cancer.
expensive.
Well, researchers have tracked the diets of thousands of women, and they've observed exactly the opposite. Women consuming the most soy are less likely to develop breast cancer. In fact, women who consume the most soy milk and tofu may be 30 to 40% less likely to develop breast cancer. I hope we've dispelled some myths. You'll find all of this and lots more in the Vegan Starter Kit. I hope you'll share it with everybody you know.
So that's Neil Barnard. He's a great guy. He's got loads and loads of him. You go on his page, and he'll tell you why he went vegan, and he will tell you that one of those. I don't want to go into what it was like. There was in a morgue or something. They were doing like find out what was going on with this guy, and find out why he had a heart attack, and basically he would explain in there why he had a heart attack. Another great guy. Another great guy is look at you can look at. I'm not sure whether these guys are on Twitch or not, but there's another great guy, and his name is Dr. Michael Greger. So I will put down Michael Greger, and he wrote a book called How Not to Die. Literally, it's called a book called How Not to Die. So he will explain. This is a very long. Oh, no, it's actually okay. It's 50 minutes. I'm not sure I should go into it all, but right. This guy was on January. Alive, Kelly and Ryan. Okay, I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to watch. Why I'm allowed to show you that one? Okay, no, that's an owl. I'm not showing you that, guys. See, that's How Not to Diet one, which was a Rich Roll Show podcast. Meat diet versus the vegan diet. Oh yeah, I was on London Real Eye. Okay. What I eat in it. Okay, let's go for this one here. So this guy's on a TED Talk, and he talks about this guy actually predicted. He actually made a predicted in 2006 or 2008. I'm not sure, but he predicted that pandemics will become more excessive. Like literally, we're in a pandemic now. He literally predicted this was going to happen. Literally how consuming or having factory farming, because factory farming having to have animals closer together, and eventually because they're so close together, infections will spread amongst them really quickly. So what they do is to give animals antibiotics to stop them from getting infected or kill the bacteria or the virus, whatever. But antibiotics are starting to fail. You know what I mean? Especially I saw this is the National Geographic where they're told the last antibiotic in China has failed. They got one on the shelf that's a decade old. They brought that back in. That was the last hope because these pigs were getting ill in China. So this is National Geographic. This is not like fake news. This is National Geographic. There's no fake news in National Geographic. You should know that National Geographic is a highly top kind of magazine bulletin, so there's no fake anything going on. They said that antibiotics are starting to fail because we're overusing it. So these overuse of antibiotics, these bacteria, they're starting to get immune to the antibiotics. Now you're going to say, well, I didn't have the same antibiotics as the pig. It doesn't matter. You're going to have an antibiotic. This virus is the antibiotics are the same thing they're going to give to these pigs because they're going to keep these pigs healthy. So this virus is gonna come to you. It's gonna overpower whatever antibiotic is gonna go for you, and it's and the progress in finding new antibiotics at the moment is very slow because it's hard to find these antibiotics. So basically, I was talking about that. Okay, I'll get into this one. So this is Dr. Michael
You can
Greger.
understand this one
Get this
concept.
advert.
You can make
Okay,
a full-time
blah blah
income
blah 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 blah
online
blah.
just by being.
Okay. So yes. So, Dr. Michael Greger.
Surely, if there was some safe, simple, side effect free solution to the obesity epidemic, we know about it by now, right? I'm not so sure. It may take an average of 17 years before research findings make it into day-to-day clinical practice. To take one example that was particularly poignant for my family, heart disease. Dr. Dean Ornish and colleagues demonstrated decades ago that our leading cause of death could be reversed with diet and lifestyle changes alone, yet hardly anything happened. Even now, hundreds of thousands of Americans continue to needlessly die from what we learned decades ago was a reversible condition. I saw it with my own eyes. My grandmother was cured of her end-stage heart disease by Nathan Pritikin, one of Dean's predecessors, using similar methods. She was given a medical death sentence at age 65, but thanks to a healthy diet, was able to enjoy another 31 years on this planet until age 96 to continue to enjoy her 6 grandkids, including me. So, if effectively the cure to our number one killer could get lost down some rabbit hole and ignored, what else might there be in the medical literature that could help my patients but just didn't have a corporate budget driving its promotion? Well, I made it my life's mission to find out. That's why I became a doctor in the first place and why I started a nonprofit site called nutritionfacts.org. Everything on the website's free. There are no ads, no corporate sponsorship, strictly non-commercial, not selling anything.
So basically, this is a website he's created. It does rely on some donations, but almost anything you want to find out about foods that are bad or good for you will be on this site. And it's updated. The research is updated every time they find out something new. Like, I don't know, maybe there was something on it that was a good diet, but now it's not good a diet. It will be updated if they find out that's the case.
Put it up as a public service, as a labor of love, as a tribute to my grandmother. New videos and articles nearly every day, and the latest in evidence-based nutrition. What a concept. Okay, so what does the science show is the best way to lose weight? If you want testimonials and before and after pictures, you have come to the wrong place. I'm not interested in anecdotes, I'm interested in evidence. When it comes to making decisions, as life and death important, as to what to feed ourselves and our families, then there's really only one question. What does the best available balance of evidence say right now? Okay, well, look. I mean, with enough portion control, anyone can lose weight. I mean, lock someone in a closet, you can force them to lose as much body fat as you want. Chaining someone to a treadmill could have a similar effect. But what's the best weight loss regimen that doesn't involve calorie restriction or exercise or a felony? Well,
Changing something to a treadmill.
I have scoured through the medical literature at all the randomized controlled trials, and the single most successful strategy to date is a diet of whole plant foods. The single most effective intervention like that ever published in the peer-reviewed scientific medical literature, a whole food plant-based diet. That works better than anything else studied to date. I mean, we've known for more than 40 years that those who eat predominantly plant-based weigh, on average, about 30 pounds lighter than the general population. But you don't know if it's the diet itself until you put it to the test. In 2017, a group of researchers in New Zealand published a broad study, a 12-week randomized controlled trial in the region with the highest obesity rates, the poorest region in the country. Overweight individuals were randomized to either standard medical care or semi-weekly classes offering advice and encouragement to eat a low-fat diet centered around fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, which are beans, split peas, chickpeas, and lentils. And that's all it was, just empowerment with knowledge. No meals were provided. People were merely informed about the benefits of plant-based eating and encouraged to, incorporate it into their own lives. No significant change in the control group, but the plant-based intervention group, even without any restrictions on portions and being able to freely eat all the healthy foods they wanted, lost, on average, 19 pounds by the end of the 3-month study. Look, 19 pounds is a respectable weight loss, but what happened next? I mean, at the end of those 12 weeks, class was dismissed and no more instruction was given.
So they went back to normal.
Researchers were curious, how much weight the subjects had gained back after being released from the study. So at the 6-month mark, everyone was invited back to get reweighed.
Here we go. They'll put it back on.
The plant-based group had left the 3-month study 19 pounds lighter, but by 6 months they were only down about 27 pounds. They got even better.
Oh, it got better, right?
The plant-based group was feeling so good physically and mentally, had been able to come off so many of their medications that they were sticking with the diet on their own, and the weight had continued to come off. All right, what about a year later? Even in studies that last a whole year, where people are, put on a particular diet, coached the entire year to stick to it, by the end of the year, any initial weight loss in the first few months tends to creep.
It's like New Year's resolution, right? They do it, but they don't see any improvement. They come straight off it. So maybe something worth thinking. Veganuary might be something worth thinking about.
On back. The broad study only lasted 3 months, yet after it was all over, those who had been randomized to the plant-based group not only lost dozens of pounds, they kept it off. They not only lost more weight at 6 and 12 months than any other comparable trial. That was months after the study had already ended. Whole food plant-based diet achieved the greatest weight loss ever recorded compared to any other such trial published in the medical literature. You can read the record-breaking study free in full at nature.com/article/NUTD2173, or just point your phone camera at the screen and pick off the QR code.
Uh-huh.
Any diet that results in a reduction in calorie intake can result in weight loss. Dropping pounds isn't so much the issue. The problem is keeping them off. And a key difference between plant-based nutrition and more traditional approaches to weight loss is people are encouraged to eat ad libitum, meaning you can eat as much as you want. No calorie counting, no portion control, just eating. Right? The strategy is to improve the quality of the food rather than restricting the quantity of food.
So basically, put it down to layman's terms: is you go on a plant-based diet, uh, like just legumes, beans and all that. You can eat as much as you want of it, much as you want. Like I was just saying, it's not about when you go on a diet is reducing the amount. It's actually changing your whole diet totally you don't have to, you can still leave the table full, you know what I mean? But you haven't consumed any sort of animal fatty proteins or anything like that that will uh, put on the weight.
If you put people on a diet packed with fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and beans, allow them to eat as much as they want, they end up eating about 50% fewer calories than they otherwise would. Wait, how can you keep people satisfied removing 1,000 calories out of their daily diet? By eating more high bulk, low calorie density foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and beans, and fewer calorie dense foods, the meats, cheeses, sugars, and fats. But it may not just be the calories in side of the equation. Those eating more plant-based appear to effectively be burning more calories in their sleep. The resting metabolic rate of those eating more plant-based may be 10% higher or more, a boost of metabolism that can translate into burning off hundreds of extra calories a day more without doing a thing. Eating plant-based, you burn more calories just being alive, just existing. So no wonder why those who eat more plant-based tend to be slimmer. Start packing your diet with real food that grows out of the ground, and the pounds should come off naturally, taking you down towards your ideal weight.
Right. I'll tell you something about this. I'm as a vegan, I can say I am still overweight. Now, the reason being is like I said, you can have fruits, vegetables, and all these fruits and vegetables, but there's also vegan biscuits. There's vegan biscuits, vegan chocolate, and obviously it is defeating the kind of object. It's not. It's sort of like this different category of vegan kind of thing. It's the vegan junk food basically. It's already there. With these guys, like Dr. Michael Greger solely says concentrates on fruits, vegetables, legumes, and pulses, beans, and stuff like that. They will help you. They will definitely help you. I can tell you the reason why, because when I first went vegan and I said, right, I'm going to lose a lot of weight, I lost weight, and I mean I lost weight. I was eating beans with rice, salsa with the salsas, and I was having smoothies, which I've reduced. I should really get back into them. So I was having smoothies for breakfast, cereal with obviously the soya milks. Uh, that will help you. Vegan junk food is a different category. But I experiment a lot with the vegan junk food because I want to know how good it's going to get. I had the last takeaway that the official vegan takeaway that opened. My wife went there too. It was called Donna Summer. Basically, they specialize in seitan or something like that. Seitan kind of fake meats, fried with the batter on it. Like basically, it's very much like a KFC kind of thing, with fried and obviously this seitan kind of meat alternative in there. I found it very salty though. It was very salty. I must agree with that. I think a month or a couple of weeks later, I had this burger from Huckleberries, which was also in Hull, and that was outstanding. But it is junk food. It's fried in vegetable fat. I don't know what's supposed to palm fat or coconut fat, but it is fried in the vegetable fat, and if it's fried, it's gonna have to put you on weight. But it is not animal fats, which is basically it's it's healthier than animal fats. Basically, plant fats are healthier than animal fats, without a shadow of a doubt.
If there was one piece of advice that best sums up my recommendations for weight loss, it would be wall off your calories. See, animal cells are encased only in easily digestible membranes, which allow the enzymes in our gut to effortlessly liberate the calories within a steak, for example. On the other hand, plant cells have cell walls that are made out of fiber, which acts as an indigestible physical barrier, so many of the calories remain trapped. Processed plant foods, fruit juice, sugar, refined grains, even whole grains, if they've been powdered into flour, have had their cellular structure destroyed, their cell walls cracked open, and their calories are free for the taking. But if you eat structurally intact plant foods, chew all you want, you're still going to end up.
Now, intact plant foods means whole foods. It means it's not been grinding down into flour, which then is like a gluten kind of thing. It will lose its sort of like, as you know, pastas grinded down grains is basically high burning, so high density, you know, whereas fibrous is the best, even for your gut health, like your colon and stuff like that. Introducing lots of whole foods, high fiber foods is the best kind of diet you can have.
With calories completely encapsulated by fiber, which then blunts the glycemic impact, delivers sustenance to your friendly flora, activates what's called the ileal brake, which dials down your appetite, and frankly, dumps trapped calories out the other end. So, bottom line, try to make sure as many of your calories as possible, your protein, your carbs, your fat, is encased in cell walls. In other words, from whole intact plant foods. That's what nature intended to happen. Millions of years before we learned how to sharpen spears and mill grains, boil sugar cane, our entire physiology is presumed to have evolved in the context of eating what the rest of our great ape cousins eat, plants. The Paleolithic period, when we started using tools, only goes back about 2 million years. We and other great apes have been evolving since the Miocene era, more like 20 million years ago. So for the first 90% of our hominoid existence, our bodies evolved on mostly plants. It's no wonder then that our bodies may thrive best on the diet we were designed to eat. So maybe we should go back to our roots. All right, I got a few minutes here. What about the ketogenic diet? You know, body fat loss actually slows down when you switch to a ketogenic diet because your body starts cannibalizing its own protein. Just looking at the bathroom scale, though, the keto diet would seem like a smashing success, losing less than a pound a week on the regular diet to, boom, 3.5 pounds within 7 days after switching to keto. But what was happening inside their bodies told a totally different story. On a ketogenic diet, their rate of body fat loss was cut by more than half. So most of what they were losing was just water, but they were also losing protein. They were also losing lean mass. This may help explain why the leg muscles of CrossFit trainees placed on a ketogenic diet may shrink as much as 8% within 2 months. Weight training is supposed to make your muscles bigger, not smaller. But look, even if keto diets worked, the goal of weight loss is not to fit into a skinnier casket. Right? People whose diets even tend to trend that way appear to live significantly shorter lives. On the other hand, even drifting in the direction of eating more healthy plant foods is associated with living longer. Going the other direction, though starting out more plant-based, but then adding meat to your diet at least once a week, may not only double or triple your odds of diabetes, stroke, heart disease, and weight gain, but may be associated with a 3.6-year drop in life expectancy. That's going from no meat to just once a week meat or more.
All right, so I'll stop it there. I'll stop that video there. So there you have it. It's that basically Michael Gravis likes talking a lot about health. Basically, he's like very health orientated in his category of being a vegan. He always would be referred to being a plant based person. Yeah, he's big, but he's for health because obviously he's a doctor, right? Now we're gonna go into the category of why vegan for the environment. Oh, we should say, should we planet or environment? I don't know. Let's go. Okay, let's have a look. Ah, why I don't trust the BBC at all, so I'll never do. Who is this guy? Christian Hexton? Hold on a second. No. Okay, 20 minutes. Okay. Right, here's a nice little. Oh, it was just maybe a little girl. I'm not so sure about that one. Okay. Okay, right, hold on a sec. Now, we'll show you in a minute. I will show you a really great speech. Who is this? What we've got here? Now, I always like the some of these videos where they call them not worth going vegan for the climate, but then I put a question mark after it. You know what I mean? As if like this needs to be debated. Right? This guy's called Mick the Vegan, or he's done a couple of videos.
You want to know why running on the treadmill 7 days a week doesn't work for you when you're trying to lose weight? Because it never.
Nah,
Mike here, and today I want to.
Okay, well, this guy's called Mike the Vegan, or Mick the Vegan, one of the two. So,
respond to the notion that it isn't worth going vegan if you live in the US because livestock emissions in the US are so small. You know, we have keto blog posts and carnivore graphics saying that the amount of emissions are so low that you should actually feel fine eating more animal products, more meat, and more beef. In the case of livestock only being 4.5% of emissions, they're actually rightfully pointing to our EPA's estimations for livestock in terms of total US emissions. But is the EPA actually right here? They're completely out of line with the rest of the emissions for the world. So using data that is widely accepted, not data by vegans, I've decided to do a little bit of an audit of these EPA figures to see how they actually stack up. And then at the end, we're going to check just how much carbon we could sequester or capture using land that would be freed up in a vegan model. All right, it's going to be a lot of data, a lot of math, but I'm going to use some simple visualization. So let's go. You may have heard global numbers on livestock emissions from the FAO, which range from 14.5% to 18% of all emissions, very comparable or greater than all transportation combined. So how does the US only end up at 4.5%, according to the EPA? At first glance, one might be like, this is believable because A, we buy so much more, we drive so much more, we have a massive military, but the reality is we also eat way more meat and way more animal products than the average person in the world. It appears that because the EPA has historically simply focused on industry, electricity production and so forth, that it has massively underestimated these animal product emissions. So we're going to math it up. We're going to look directly at the carbon footprint of each of the main animal products that are consumed in the US, and we're going to multiply that by how much we produce as a nation to get a figure. And a little bit of a hint, yeah, it's way higher than the EPA. The EPA is dead wrong. To start off, I want to work within a little bit of a range. The bottom of the range is just going to be directly using the Environmental Working Group's figures on greenhouse gas emissions by animal product per weight. As you can see by this chart, and this is US and EU data that it was made from, so this is Western farming practices and should apply to the US. However, the FAO says that the emissions per pound of beef is much higher, and so I'm going to use their beef estimate as the high range. We're just going to change beef for the high range and leave the rest as it is. Starting with the environmental working group numbers only, the low end. I went through and got the production amount for every individual animal product here and then multiplied it by the CO2 per pound of that product. And here are the results in boring spreadsheet form, but thankfully we have some visuals too. The top bar shows the total production in billions of pounds for each animal product. And side note, total production for milk is actually 215 billion pounds a year, but I subtracted the fraction that is turned into cheese to make sure that it isn't double counted. And then we have the right column. It's just the environmental working group chart in pounds, but in a different order because the next column is that multiplied by that US total production, which gives us, again, billions of pounds of CO2 equivalent per year by animal product. Very interesting. Beef, of course, wins. If you make milk and cheese one category, it's the second biggest behind beef at 460-ish. Chicken.
You've seen how much CO2 beef is been produced. Now, it's not because it's just being produced, not because of cow farts or anything like that. Right? It's basically is the production of grains that has to be fed to the cows. So obviously, we're gonna have to produce the wheat, the barley, and all that that they feed to the cows. That has to be produced. That needs obviously tractors and blah blah blah. Their CO2 being burned. Transportation to the cows. Then obviously the methane, what they produce. Then obviously then the water that has to be supplied. Where it's not going to come from the rain, it has to be supplied. Like not going to be like in a tap or anything like that. These just goes in like silos and they have to be distributed straight to the obviously to the where the cows are. So either it's not being supplied by fresh water. In some places you can't get clean water, so it needs to be delivered by tanks or tankers. So got to be delivered by tankers. Then you're gonna have to transport the cows to the slaughterhouse if it's not straight on site. Then obviously the transportation to the butchers who produce the meat, the producers, the productions, turn it into mince for burgers and stuff like that. I don't like thinking about that, but steaks. Then the butchers or transportation to the butchers. Then it obviously is those are all put together in this category where beef is the highest. I mean, look at this line, this huge, it's a huge amount of CO2 being let go.
And pig are up there, but one that is actually growing quickly is farmed fish. We'll probably see that grow in the future. And these visuals were made on Tableau by some very nice people named Mitchell and Alexis, so thank you. Okay, now let's get some percentage answers. According to the EPA, our total US emissions are 6,400 million metric tons, so we need to convert those pounds to metric tons. And here's the result. Totaling those all together, we are at 945 million metric tons for animal products, already pushing 14.75% of total current US emissions. So our low end is already over 3 times higher than the EPA's.
Yeah, so not the 4% that they said it was going to be. So this is a lot higher.
Figure. It's just kind of interesting. And then we can go and add that higher end for the FAO beef figure, which brings us from 27 pounds of CO2 equivalent per pound up to 67. And then we have a total of about 1,400 million metric tons, which brings us to 22.3% of current total emissions. But let's get the percentages right, because that increase would actually bring us to a new total of around 7,000 million metric tons. So our new percentage would be a range from 13.5% to 20% of total emissions from livestock in the US. This is actually very similar to the FAO's range of 14.5% to 18%. It's right there. It absolutely is worth it to ditch animal products, regardless of which country you're in, for the environment. These animal product emissions alone are so high that they are directly comparable to all the fossil fuel emissions of countries like Russia and Japan and Germany, the 4th, 5th, and 6th largest emitters on Earth. Also want to mention a couple details because the figures weren't available. This does not count the extra emissions on top of milk milk that is required to create butter, ice cream, and yogurt. It also doesn't include things like bison and venison farming, farming deer for meat. And it's not really livestock, but this also doesn't include any emissions from fishing out in the ocean and other places, which
is
would
huge.
be, notable. So how did the EPA get this so wrong? Well, they show some figures in their full report, which I'll link below. They have a bit of a black box situation going on still. It might have been due to undercounting methane emissions. They used a bit of an older model to estimate ruminant methane emissions. And it might have been because they were looking at a lower global warming potential for methane. We now know that it's higher than we used to think it was then. Global warming potential is how powerful of a greenhouse gas methane is, so they probably just underestimated that. Could have been other areas too. They could have underestimated feed emissions. They could have underestimated the total amount of animal products being produced. And if you are curious at looking at the Environmental Working Group's methodology, I will link that below as well. And then as far as how the FAO got their higher number, well, they used their Global Livestock Environmental Assessment Model, which seems to be quite thorough. But what is worth it for the environment doesn't stop at CO2 emissions. It also includes CO2 sequestration, or trapping that carbon. And this is another story and where a vegan model would open up some serious windows from the EPA. They say that we sequester about 11%, or 700 million metric tons a year just from trees and land in the US as of now. But from the USDA, we use nearly 50% of our lower 48 land to graze or grow feed for livestock. And according to this study, a vegan diet uses 1/8 the amount of land that our current diet uses, so we would free up a massive amount of land. In the simplest scenario, that land could then be used to just plant trees to sequester carbon. And from this report to Congress, quote, afforestation, simply planting trees, of crop or pasture land is estimated to have the potential to sequester between 2.2 and 9.5 metric tons of CO2 per acre per year.
So basically what he's saying is instead of growing fields to feed vegans, this is actually not this is not the truth. The majority of crops grown is to feed the animals that meat eaters eat. Basically, that's what it's for. Any sort of animal consumption, really. And basically that is why when they say, oh well all these vegans eat all of the soya being eaten. No, you got to remember, soya is very highly produced for cow. That's basically what it's there for, because it's got high protein content, makes the cow grow pretty fast. Soy, because it's very high protein, so it's been mainly grown for them. That's what it's there for. Grows very cheaply because it can grow fast. You see, so it's not grown very often, not grown organically, and they have a lot of GMOs in it to make it grow faster. So the feeds for the cattle can be cheaper if they can grow it faster. If you can grow something like soya, grow really fast with GMOs, the food can be made cheaper to give the animal, which then makes the price of meat also cheaper, which then releases the subsidy amount that the government pay for feeds to the animal. It releases slightly, so it goes down for the government. So they have to put too much money in, which then boosts the economy, as they would say. It's like, but it doesn't work that way. It's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way of behaving. It's not the sustainable way of doing it. Eventually, it will collapse because there are too many other variations of problems that can come out from having it like that, behaving like that, with a growing world population. Yeah, you can cull a population. Yeah, I would do the trick. Yeah, but who's gonna do that? Who's gonna slaughter 4 billion people? Who's gonna do it? Pandemic will. No, we're quite lucky with this one, this COVID-19. That what I'm saying is, lucky. There's a lot of people I've lost, and I feel very sorry for people. But imagine a pandemic virus that is as resilient as HIV and has the infection rate it currently has. Now that would be crazy. That would be crazy. The amount of people that would die there is crazy. That would be crazy. That would definitely wipe some people out. If that would happen, it could happen. That's the whole point. The whole point of being a vegan is to avoid such things, to avoid the suffering of animals, to reduce the chance of getting stronger pandemics because the overuse of antibiotics in animals, just that be easy, and the climate change effect that is causing, it all affects us in the end, And the reason why I joined become a vegan because of Sea Shepherd, because they really believe that if the oceans die because of overfishing and pollution and God knows what, if the oceans die, we die. That's really what they believe in. If we can't have life on land without the ocean, like that way, because everything's connected. The oceans and the land are connected in a certain way. And I will get into that as well. I will tell you why that is, and it's incredible. I only found out like a year ago about this, and I could not believe it. It's incredible, and I will show you I will show you into that one. But first, I will want to introduce you to a really powerful speech done by Philip Wallen. Philip Wallen is an Australian MP. Really, really. Hold on, let me get this up down. Okay, I will bring this up for you guys. His name is Philip. Most inspiring speech on animal rights, which was incredible. It was an incredible speech, really incredible speech. But this one is a kindness trust, which is a trust that he created. He's the I think he's the patron of Kindness Trust, or I'm not sure there's a founder, patron. So this guy, he is a Sea Shepherd supporter. He's actually been on the boats on campaigns, actively helping Sea Shepherd, pulling these nets out and stuff like that. You guys will love this book, but there's no babble. This guy's it's some of it's heartbreaking, and it's just a great speech. You'll love it. I'm going to pass it Davis, obviously. Okay. Wow. Another video. What the? Another ad. Come on.
On behalf of St James Ethics Centre, the Wheeler Centre, the Melbourne Food and Wine Festival, The Age, the City of Melbourne and the ABC, all of whom have worked together to make this event possible, I'd like to welcome Philip Wallen. King Lear, late at night on the cliffs, asks the blind Earl of Gloucester, "How do you see the world?" And the blind man Gloucester replies, "I see it feelingly." And shouldn't we all? Animals must be off the menu because tonight they are screaming in terror in the slaughterhouses, in crates and in cages. Vile, ignoble gulags of despair. You see, I heard the screams of my dying father as his body was ravaged by the cancer that killed him. And I realized I'd heard those screams before. In the slaughterhouse, their eyes stabbed out and their tendons slashed, on the cattle ships to the Middle East, and the dying mother wail as a harpoon explodes in her brain as she calls out to her calf. Their cries were the cries of my father. And I discovered that when we suffer as equals. And in their capacity to suffer, a dog is a pig, is a bear, is a boy. Meat today is the new asbestos, more murderous than tobacco. CO2, methane, and nitrous oxide from the livestock industry are killing our oceans with acidic, hypoxic dead zones. 90% of small fish are ground up into pellets to feed to livestock. Vegetarian cows today are the world's largest ocean predators. The oceans are dying in our time. By 2048, all our fisheries will be dead, the lungs and the arteries of the earth. Billions of bouncy little chicks are ground up alive simply because they are male. Only 100 billion people have ever lived. 7 billion people live today. And yet we torture and kill 2 billion sentient living beings every week. 10,000 entire species are wiped out every year because of the actions of one. And we're now facing the 6th mass extinction in cosmological history. If any other organism did this, a biologist would call them a virus. It is a crime against humanity of unimaginable proportions. But happily, the world is changing. 10 years ago, Twitter was a bird sound. www was a stuck keyboard. Cloud was in the sky. 4G was a parking space. Google was a baby's burp. Skype was a typo. And Al-Qaeda was my plumber. Victor Hugo said, "There is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come." Well, animal rights today is now the greatest social justice issue since the abolition of slavery. Do you know there are over 600 million vegetarians in this world? And that is bigger than the United States, England, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all put together. If we were one nation, we would be bigger than the 27 nations of the European Union. Can you believe that? And despite this massive demographic footprint, we are still drowned out by the raucous hunt and shoot and killing cartels who believe that violence is the answer when it should not even be a question. Meat kills animals, kills us, and is killing our economies. Medicare has already bankrupted the United States. They will need $8 trillion invested in Treasury bills just to pay the interest, and they have precisely zero. They could shut down every school, Army, Navy, Air Force, Homeland Security, Marines, CIA, and FBI, and they still will not have the money to pay their doctor bills. And our Cornell and Harvard say that the optimum amount of meat in a healthy human diet is precisely zero. Water, as you know, is the new oil. Nations will soon be going to war for it. Underground aquifers that took millions of years to fill are now running dry. It takes 50,000 liters of precious drinking water to make 1 kilo of beef. Today, 1 billion people are hungry. 20 million people will die from malnutrition. Cutting meat by only 10% will feed 100 million people, and eliminating meat will end starvation forever. If everyone ate a Western diet, we would need 2 planet Earths to feed us. We've only got one, and she is dying. Greenhouse gas emissions from livestock is 50% greater than transport, as Peter said. Cars, trains, buses, ships, lorries, the whole lot. And as I travel around the world, I see poor countries who sell their grain to the West while their own children starve in their arms. And the West feeds it to livestock so we can eat a steak? Am I the only one who sees this as a crime? Believe me, every morsel of meat we eat is slapping the tear-stained face of a hungry child. When I look into her eyes, do I remain silent? The earth can produce enough food for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. We are facing the perfect storm. If any nation had developed weapons that could wreak such havoc on the planet, we would launch a preemptive military strike and bomb it back into the Bronze Age. But it's not a rogue state, it's an industry. The good news is we don't have to bomb it. We can just stop buying it. Sir George Bush was wrong. The axis of evil does not run through Iraq, Iran, or North Korea. It runs through our dining tables. Weapons of mass destruction are our knives and forks. Our proposition is the Swiss Army knife of the future. It solves our environmental, water, human health problems and ends cruelty forever. The Stone Age didn't end because we ran out of stones. This cruel, disgusting industry will end because we run out of excuses. Meat is like the 1 and 2 cent coins. It costs more to make than it's worth. And I come from the bush. Farmers are the ones with the most to gain. Farming won't end, it would boom. Only the product line will change. Farmers would make so much money they won't even bother counting it, and I'd be the first to applaud them. Governments would love us. New industries would emerge and flourish. Health insurance premiums would plummet. Hospital waiting lists would disappear. Hell, we'd be so healthy, we'd have to shoot someone just to start a cemetery. So tonight I have two challenges for the opposition. Two challenges. Meat causes a wide range of cancers and heart disease. Would they name one disease caused by a vegetarian diet? And two, I'm funding the Earthlings trilogy. If the opposition is so sure of their ground, I challenge them to send a copy of the Earthlings DVD to all their colleagues and all their customers. Go on, I dare you. Animals are not just other species, they are other nations, and we murder them at our peril. The peace map is drawn on a menu. Peace is not just the absence of war, it is the presence of justice. Justice must be blind to race, color, religion, or species. If she's not blind, she will be a weapon of terror. And tonight, there is unimaginable terror in those ghastly Guantanamos we call factory farms or slaughterhouses. Believe me, if slaughterhouses had glass walls, we wouldn't be having this debate tonight. You see, I believe another world is possible. And on a quiet night, I can hear her breathing. Let's get animals off the menu and out of these torture chambers. Please vote tonight for those who have no voice. Thank you.
So there you are. That speech is like, it did go viral. I mean, it's got 854 views. But when somebody filmed that one, it was like, not sure how many. Have a look. And there was one that had like loads. I can't remember which one. That one's 854K. So I had quite a few views on that one. And there was one that had a lot. I can't remember which one it was. There was loads. Okay, well, there's like, can't see it quite now. So there you have it. Basically, that was Philip Wallen done the most powerful speech I have ever seen or heard. Should be heard by anybody. If you like this speech, share it around, because there's no bull behind it. This guy talks the truth, basically. He really just talks the truth. And obviously he has funded the Earthlings trilogy, amongst other campaigns that he's going on. He's obviously a great supporter of Sea Shepherd, who helped me transfer to a vegan diet. So I have gave you like the reason why I became a vegan, and so I gave you the category of why it's good for the health by Neil Barnard and Dr. Michael Greger. And also I have give you for the environment, why it's good for the environment. And obviously this is obviously the part of where vegan is beneficial for the animals is obviously self-explanatory. You know, there's no shadow of a doubt. There's adverts been made for by these animal trusts, and obviously Kindness Trust that was on there. I made like little clips that obviously tear at your heartstrings, basically, to try and get you to see that way. Well, like I said, yes, vegan. Yes, of course, it's vegan is all for that. It's been created all for the animals, but the categories of health and environment is the thing that's going to get people gripped. That's the thing that's going to get people together. At the moment, people just see animals where vegans see a being. They'll just see it as nothing. You know what I mean? They'll see it as when it's in a zoo, it's good, nice to be looked at, but they will not see. They will just see. They don't see an animal when somebody looks at a product on the shelf. So basically, it's a category on its own. But the categories of health and environmental obviously will benefit the animal in the long run. So that's the reason. Behind that, and I definitely become more compassionate towards animals. That was shadow of a doubt. You know, I used to go fishing and I quit that. No, I sold my as soon as I found out what Sea Shepherd were doing, my rods were gone. You know what I mean? My fishing rods were gone. There was no way I supported that kind of thing anyway. So yes, I gave it the category of health. I gave it a category of climate change, which is there's more. There's loads more videos that you can see. Animals, I will not show you where any of them because obviously those videos do pull on your heartstrings, and a lot of people do not want to see anything like that. You can find out for yourself what's going on with that. People just don't want to see it. Uh, they just don't want to see it. They just want to don't want to see those videos of cruelty happening to them. It just doesn't work. You know, it doesn't win people over because they'll just switch off. You know, when you give them something like health first, something that's beneficial for your health, people seem to be more interested in that. You know, people then again, people will say it's a load of bull, but there is scientific evidence that it is beneficial for you. You know, now I don't know what the state of my heart's in. I feel great. I feel more energetic than I ever did. Um, I don't know what state my health is in because I eat a lot of vegan junk food, basically. You know, I had a Christmas pudding. You know, I'm not going to eat it all tonight. But I've had a Christmas pudding. It's gluten-free vegan. You know, so I've had a bit of that. But is it healthy? Of course, it's not. It's got tons of calories in it. You know, I've had an energy drink. You know, that's not good for you. You know, it's labeled suitable for vegans. But is it good for you? Of course, it's not good for you. It's junk. You know, it's vegan junk food. I like to experiment. When this obviously we have our own resolutions again. We've got to be as a vegan. We've got our own resolutions. We've got to be going on a diet. You know, so I'm going to be starting to move more, eat healthier. I'm going to get those beans back out. You know, with the rice and that get into my greens and my smoothies and that. I'm going to get back on track with it. You know, because I felt better when I was a little bit lighter. You know, and you know, it's just because maybe a mental thing, but I did feel a lot better. But I definitely feel better being living this lifestyle than I did the meat lifestyle because I do remember when I first started the job I am now. It was tiring. I was a lot of the times I was tired. Evened it out because I didn't work as many hours as what I do now, but I literally get 5 hours of sleep a night. Literally, like between 4 and 5 hours of sleep a night. That's all I get because it's just not possible for me anymore. I'd have to go to bed at 7 to get myself 6 hours in. You know, because I get up at 2 in the morning.
Happy New Year, throwing kisses.
Idiot, psychotic.
Oh, I got it. Hold on. On my computer, it says a minute to us. It's not Happy New Year. Wait on a second.
Dad. Seen this idiot, psychotic sicko on TikTok.
Yeah.
Jerked and killed a cat for views. Right.
All right. Okay.
Look.
Happy New Year, Dals. If you're watching me, Happy New Year, babes. Love you.
Hello.
Happy New Year, Ryan.
Thanks.
Is it him again? No, I don't want to see him again. Right, everyone. It's just gone. It's just gone midnight. Happy New Year, everybody. I can hear the fireworks outside, and there's not much celebrating going on. I'm here with the family. Wife is on Fortnite. I'll probably be joining her in a second.